Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible now? Can you guys hear me? Perfect. Thank you for the feedback. So once again, Assalamu alaikum, Ramzan Mubarak to all of you. Uh, how's Ramzan treating you guys? Uh, I know many of you guys. So rather than having a very formal introductory class, so how's Ramzan going? How many of you are working? And what is the status of your ACCA? So do let me know these two, three things, please. Good to hear this, Furkan. Mahad noted, Bilal noted. Mahad, best of luck. Mahad and Furkan, best of luck for the SPL. So, what about you, Samira? You are a bit silent. Part qualified. So those who are using part qualified, I assume they are done with professional, and ATX is their first professional exam. I hope my understanding is clear. And how many of you are working? So is there anyone of you who is working? So Mahat, good to hear this. Soma, Furkan, Bilal, Samira, noted. Well, so those who are in the last phase of their ACCA journey, like probably not now immediately, but do start exploring for the things, internships, jobs, start gaining the experience now. Because if you start looking for it now, probably it would take month, 2 month, 3 months to get you employed, to get you working. So do not, so this can be an approach. Like I would start working once I'm done with ACCA, but it's better to start ACCA now, like when your 1 or 2 or 3 papers of ACCA are left. It's good to start job at that point of time and learn with your job and studies both together, like how to manage your time of job and studies. So those a majority are not working. That's fine at the moment, but start exploring for these kind of things. Um, so let's start the basic discussion of the ATX related stuff. I hope my screen is visible to you guys. You guys can see my screen. Uh, Perfect. Let me first talk about the ATX exam format. No, so let me first discuss about syllabus content. Then we'll talk about the exam format. So with respect to ATX syllabus or topics, I'm not following any particular sequence to list down all of the topics, but just pointing it out. The first topic is income tax. If you guys recall, income tax is something which includes employment income. Income tax is something which includes trading income, property income, interest, dividend, pension income. It includes the discussion on NICs. It includes the discussions on losses, trading income relating to sole traders. Last but not the least, so these are the broad topics of the income tax, right? All of these things are there. Let me write a disclaimer type of a statement. Other miscellaneous areas like tapering of personal allowance, marriage allowance, uh, child benefit income tax charge, all such type of tiny toony things. All of these things are there in ATX. All of these things, like all complete income tax is there in ATX. What's new? What's additional? In the income tax, sorry, in the employment income, there are some new concepts, like one, two new concepts are there in the income tax. If I talk about trading income, be it sole trader or partnership, everything is same. Again, there are some new concepts. I'm just saying for the sake of reference, trading income includes, if you recall, tax adjustments, like something add back, etc., etc. Then after tax adjustments, there was capital allowances. Last, basis period. In the basis period, so these were the major components of the trading income. So all of these things are there. However, within each category, within every category, there are one or two new concepts which you guys will notice over there. Okay. Um, Third, property income. Third, property income. Property income is same, like nothing new over here. Interest, dividend, pension is majorly same. Plus, there are some new concepts. NICs, same. Losses principle, same. However, there is In some of the discussions, there is some more depth in some of the topics. Administration of tax, same. Other miscellaneous areas, some new concepts, but majorly same. Uh, if I ask you guys, since I'm aware like every one of you are done with the TX, and if someone recalls, what was the most difficult topic in income tax? Just random feedback. What was the most difficult area in income tax? I hear you guys. I am smiling in particular due to the alignment, due to the, synchronization of the students. Two students at the same time commented the same topic. What about rest? Or rest believes there was nothing to be difficult in income tax? Uh, do you guys really uh, forgot the basis period type of thing? Everyone is on the same page. So everyone is like losses. Okay, I hear you. Second, capital gains. I'm just sharing the intro of the ATX, so I'm not discussing any topic in detail at the moment. In capital gains, allow me to start it from the next page because this page is about to end. Second, capital gains tax. In capital gains tax, there are some calculations relating to capital gains tax. And after calculations, like when I'm using the word calculations, I mean there were some discussions around part disposal, chattel, non-chattel, wasting, non-wasting, the matching principle, stuff like that. I'm just taking the names that if any name clicks in your mind, that's great. If not, nothing to worry around. And the second phase of the capital gains tax was the discussion around reliefs. Do you guys recall any name of the relief of capital gains tax? Any name, like anyone in your mind at the moment? Indexation allowance, a good one, Soma, but indexation allowance was part of the company's capital gain. So Furkan, you said letting release. So letting release, I like to include TPR, including letting release. I hope you guys recall the abbreviation of TPR. That's principal private residence. Good one, Samira. Holdover release, rollover release. Any further? So I have the feedback from three. Uh, Anyone further? Mahad, Bilal. That's fine. Bilal, what about you? So if you guys recall, there was one very famous name, BADR. Do you recall the abbreviation BADR? Great, Furkan. Uh, BADR, investor relief, gift holdover relief. So I'm not making a list. Like there were some further reliefs at the moment, not discussion point. But point is, all of the reliefs which you studied in TX are here in ATX. In addition to these reliefs, there are in the calculations, there are plus one or two more calculations, like one, two more calculations would be observed. And apart from reliefs, there are one or two more reliefs in ATX. One, two more reliefs, one, two more calculations on a separate site. The more and the not more, the most important aspect of ATX with respect to CGT is that is called interaction of different reliefs. Interaction of different relief means, for example, in a given situation, I'm just giving you an example. In a given situation, the conditions of this relief are met and the conditions of, let's say, this relief are also meeting. So which relief should be opted? Should we go with BADR? Should we go with GHOR? Should we go with the holdover relief, rollover relief? Which relief should be opted? So this kind of phenomena, this kind of philosophy is called as interaction of different reliefs. Like if in a given situation, one or more relief conditions of one or more reliefs are satisfied, then which relief should we choose? And I hope you can join the dots from your practical life. Like, for example, let's say you are out of home, you are out of home, uh, you Googled your the route to your home. So let's say if I am at TSA, I want to get back to home. If I Google the the direction for my home, Google shows me two or three directions, right? And Google suggests me the best possible option as well. The two, three directions that contains few of the factors. First, the distance it would take, the level of traffic, and the time to the ETA, the estimated time of arrival at my desired place. And out of these two, three factors, whatever factor is the best according to Google, Google advised me to follow that particular route, right? In the same way, there is a possibility that in a given situation, you are meeting two or three reliefs. If you are meeting two or three reliefs, then which relief should be opted? So this is something where we need to consider few of the factors and then would decide which relief should we opt. Obviously, there are some factors which we will discuss, like which relief is the best in what circumstances, uh, and at times, and I hope you agree with me that for every person there are different factors uh, due to which every person gives some weightage. For example, from TSA to my home or my home to TSA, three factors Google consider: time, traffic, uh, and the kilometer wise, like distance. For me, what matter is there should be no traffic. I'm fine with the distance. I'm fine to take the long route, but there should be no traffic. So traffic is the main factor for me. There can be someone who is like, I'm fine with the traffic. I'm not I'm not in a favor to go for with the long route. Route should be small. So there can be different factors which influence the decision maker's decision, and obviously the factors would vary from person to person. Two topics. Third topic, inheritance tax. How was inheritance tax in TX? One, most easy. Five, most difficult. Rated. One, most easy. Five, most difficult. Two. Mm-hmm. Bilal, Mahad, Soma. So to Bilal, Mahad, and Soma, I'm repeating my question. My question was, uh, in TX, how you rate the inheritance tax topic? One, most easy. Five, most difficult. Bilal, I hear you. Uh, and I personally believe, like, I'm not challenging your view, but four is bit uh, higher side for IHT. That's what my belief. So it somewhat it should be in two to three categories. So two, three, but four, in my view, four is something which IHT as a topic do not deserve. Well, whatever IHT you have studied in TX, that is approximately 40 to 50% of ATX IHT. So in ATX with respect to IHT, somewhat approximately 50 to 60% area is new. So there is a lot of new topics in the IHT which you are going to consider. Okay. Fourth, value added tax. How you gonna rate this one topic, value added tax of TX? One, uh, most easy. Five, most difficult. Three. Okay. Samira, I hear you. Four. Soma, good one. Two. So whatever is in VAT and TX, all is there in ATX. There are only three new concepts in VAT. So whatever VAT was there in TX, all of the VAT is here in ATX. I'm not going into the detail at the moment, but everything is same. Just there are three to four more concepts over here. Uh, with respect to the mapping with TX, the last topic. And the last topic is corporation tax. my independent view, corporation tax was easy topic. Corporation tax was easy topic in particular if you are fine with the concepts of trading income and other previous concepts. So that's my personal view. Finance Act 2023, like the relevant Finance Act for us, Finance Act 2023 has made it bit complicated. So when I'm using the word Finance Act 2023 has made it complicated, it doesn't mean that it is something which is the difference between TX and ATX. This statement means it is something which anyone who will be studying TX now will be observing these complications relating to corporation tax. So I'm not highlighting what are these complications, but there are some more complications. Okay. Again, like I said, Finance Act 2003 has made it a bit complicated. With respect to corporation tax, I do divide corporation tax into three areas. The first area is corporation tax liability calculations, right? Corporation tax liability calculations. The second area is corporation tax administration and losses. Third thing was there in TX, but not very much emphasized area, that is group aspects. Group aspects means I'm referring to group losses, these were the three broad areas of the corporation tax. Corporation tax liability calculation. There are few more concepts. So there are more concepts which we need to study, which we need to adhere. Administration plus losses. That is same, but with respect to losses, there are some more in-depth discussions. I hope you guys are following properly. And in some of the aspects, I'm writing more concepts, and in probably second or third time, I have mentioned in-depth discussion. There is a difference between more concept and in-depth discussion. More concept means there will be something entirely new which you have not studied in TX. And in-depth discussion means there would be something which was there in TX, but at certain point of time we put a full stop. Like beyond this, we are not going to think. And in this ATX phase, we will be thinking that aspects. Okay. In the group aspects, there are new concepts plus anti-avoidance legislation. So anti-avoidance legislations, no. But do you guys recall the terminology anti-avoidance? Do you guys recall this terminology anti-avoidance? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me reword my question. Do you guys recall the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance? Evasion versus avoidance. One is legal. That's correct. Good one, Furkan. So evasion is illegal and avoidance is not illegal. So I would not say avoidance is legal. I would say the better statement is avoidance is not illegal. In both of the aspects, be it tax evasion, be it tax avoidance, the bottom line is we are going to save the tax. One, like you guys said, like you guys referred, one is via legal ways and one is via illegal ways, right? Avoidance is legal ways and evasion is illegal ways. Avoidance reduces the tax. For me, avoidance is something which is going to save my tax, which is going to save my expense. My expense is the revenue for the government, is the revenue for HMRC. If I'm saving the tax, would HMRC be liking that? The answer would be no, because it is impacting their revenue. So if your avoidance is genuine, if your avoidance is reasonable, if it's genuine, then it's fine. But if you are creating artificial structures to save the tax, then HMRC really don't like it. Then HMRC really don't appreciate that. And in such situation, HMRC penalizes you. I repeat all the last 1 minute discussion. Avoidance is legal, right? But to avoid the tax, if it's a genuine transaction, it's fine. But if you are creating artificial structures to save the tax, artificial structures to save the tax, then HMRC really don't appreciate it. HMRC really don't look positively towards it. And to avoid that thing, to avoid the misuse of tax avoidances, tax benefits, to avoid its misuse, HMRC has made some of the anti-avoidance legislation. So anti-avoidance legislation is basically legislations which are designed for particular situation, for particular scenario, to avoid, to restrict, to prohibit the tax avoidance. Mahat, if you ask me, taking part of salary in the form of cash, is it legal? The answer is no. So if I'm like, rather than transferring the salary into my bank account, give it cash to me, whatever transaction you record, just to avoid it. That's, if you ask me, that's evasion. That's not avoidance even. Let me give you a very great example of this situation. I hope you recall there were some reliefs kind of thing for the spouses, right? Do you recall any? So I'm like, there were some reliefs, there were some relaxations with respect to income tax, with respect to capital gains, with respect to IHT for spouses. Do you recall? If not, then I like to give you one reference. Transfer of asset between spouses is at no gain, no loss. Capital gains. Transfer of asset between spouses is exempt from IHT. And like you said, Mahat, perfect. There was transfer of personal allowance as well, which is also called as marriage allowance, right? if I do a paper marriage with someone just to avoid the tax, just to save the tax, once the transaction is executed, once the transaction is done, then I will give the divorce. Fine. The marriage was not a genuine marriage, it was just a paper marriage. Is it something which is, I would not say it illegal because paper marriage, like marriage is marriage, right? Is it something which is a genuine transaction or is it something which is artificial structure? It is something which is artificial structure, right? I hope you agree. It is something which is artificial structure. So would HMRC likes paper marriages? The answer is no. So to avoid taking benefit of these kind of artificial structures, the legislations are called as anti-avoidance legislations. I hope you guys would have a bit idea now what are anti-avoidance legislations. Overseas aspects. This is one of the very, very important area of ATX. And my personally, one of the favorite area of ATX. Overseas aspects. Imagine if a person uh, is dual national, like living in Pakistan, living in UK, has some income in UK, has some income in Pakistan, has some capital gains in Pakistan, has some capital gains in UK. How they gonna tax? What are the tax consequences for these kind of persons? With respect to this topic, there was one very initial discussion, like, the starting point of this overall topic, the residency status of the person. If someone do remembers what was the discussion around residency, it's fine. If not, that's also fine. If you recall, what was the residency type of discussion? The residency type of discussion is check whether the person is not resident. If both tests doesn't met, then the third was the ties test. Yes, the Mahat, that's perfect. Then we need to consider with respect to number of days whether the person is resident or not. If resident, what are the consequences? If not resident, what are the consequences? So all of these kind of things. So in NTX, there was only this topic was only to this extent whether the person is resident or not. But now in ATX, after this discussion, there is a lot discussion around if a person is, let's say, UK resident, if a person is Pakistani resident, is he supposed to pay income tax in UK, in Pakistan? Is he supposed to pay capital gains tax in UK, in Pakistan? Is he supposed to pay inheritance tax in UK or in Pakistan? And even if a company is Pakistani resident and UK resident, what will be the tax consequences for the company? So all of these kind of discussions will be conducted on this topic. So this is something which is embedded in every topic. It is in income tax, it is in capital gains, it is in IHT, it is in corporation tax, even it is in VAT as well. But the VAT topic was there in TX, so that's why I've not captured this over there. So this is something which is, uh, integrated, synchronized with each and every topic. Last, other miscellaneous topics. So other miscellaneous topics are like, there are some of the topics which are not directly part of any particular chapter, which are not part of any particular topic, but this is something which exists in with each and every topic. This other miscellaneous topics includes tax planning area as well. Uh, so this is a very high level, the syllabus type thing discussion of this syllabus type of discussion of ATX. One thing I like to share with you guys from my own personal experience. One thing I like to share with you guys from my own personal experience is TX exam has some problem. Problem as in, once we are done with the, for example, financial reporting, audit, financial management, performance measurement exam, things remain in our mind for some time period, or other way around, the things are normally are in discussion with our seniors, with our juniors, with our peers. They remain in that discussion. The bad thing about the TX exam is once we are done with the exam, we are lost on the very next day with approximately 50% of the TX knowledge. And after a month, 40 days approximately, when the result is announced, and we are done with the result, like we passed the exam, rest of the 50% is then gone from the mind. So TX is something which once we are done with the paper, normally it doesn't retain in the mind. I don't know to what extent you guys agree with me or not, but that's the fundamental problem with this paper. So while you guys are studying ATX, my default of fundamental assumption is you guys do not recall anything from the TX. I hope my this assumption would be fair assumption. Like you guys do not, there is nothing in your mind relating to TX. So while studying while studying ATX, we will be studying TX plus ATX as well. And due to this fact, ATX book is the thickest book of ACCA. It is the thickest book of ACCA. So because the book also assumes the same, like you guys have to read the TX stuff, plus you guys have to learn the ATX stuff. So that's why book also assumes to explain you, to guide you guys the TX topics plus the ATX topics, which makes the book very happy. And I hope you recall the TX book itself was the thickest book in fundamental. So it's like you guys have to, but keep remember, this is something which you guys have to revise, not learn. This area is something which you guys have to learn because it is something which is in your mind. It's just out of your mind. We have to brush up the concepts, but it is something which is in your mind. Mahad, if I recall, the book was around 1,000 pages. Around. So make it 5, 10% plus minus. Furkan, that's a good question. So probably this is something which I was just about to discuss. If I look into ATX, in ATX, 100% TX off there. And TX is approximately 6, not 60, is approximately 70% of ATX. So approximately, and these are very clear approximations, there will be approximately 30% new areas in ATX, which is obviously not dedicated to any one topic, but in bits and pieces, categorized, divided into each and every category. Okay. Paper format. In the paper format, there are two sections. Section A, Section B. Section A consists of one question. Section B consists of two questions. Section A, total of 50 marks. Now, these marks are divided into two categories. One category is technical marks, and one category is professional marks. In section A, in question 1, there are 40 technical marks, 10 professional marks. Whereas in question B, in section B, in every question, there are 20 technical marks, 5 professional marks. So if I make a sum, there are 80 technical marks, 20 professional marks. In these technical marks, I would like to put the asterisk over here. In these technical marks, there will be 5 marks on ethics. Ethics in ATX is not something which is new. Ethics is same as what you have studied in SBL, what you have studied in audit and assurance, in F8, in your F1 exam. Ethics is same. There is nothing changed in the ethics. I hope you recall ethical principles. 5 ethical principles: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, and duty of professional behavior. All of the principle remains the same. There were certain threats to the ethical principles: familiarity threat, advocacy threat, intermediation threat, self-interest threat, self-review threats. All of these things are there. What makes the difference? So the point which makes the difference over here is, previously you guys have studied these all things in capacity of auditor, but here I would be discussing all of these things, but in capacity of tax consultant, in capacity of tax partner, in capacity of tax advisor. Apart from this, principles are same, just capacity to think would be changed, right? What is professional marks? So professional marks is something which has a 20 marks weightage, a huge weightage. So that's not any tiny toony weightage, that's a huge weightage, 20 marks. We will learn about professional marks, but not now. So professional marks is something which we will learn in particular towards end of session. Like in throughout the session, my main focus area would be on technical marks. And once we are done with the technical marks, then we will focus around professional marks. Because professional marks is something which can only be grasped if you have technical knowledge. If you don't have technical knowledge, you cannot grasp only professional marks. So professional marks is not something which can be obtained without technical knowledge. It can be grasped after the technical knowledge. Okay. So that's why I keep this discussion towards the end of the exam. As far as this question is concerned, like which part of the exam, which part of the question, which part of the topic will be in question 1, in question 2, in question 3. So there is no such division, there is no such bifurcation in there is no such bifurcation in uh, ATX. So in question 1, there can be income tax in question 1. There can be corporation tax in question 1. There can be capital gains tax. There can be inheritance tax. There can be overseas. There can be tax planning. Any topic can be examined in any of the areas. So there is no such timeline. There is no such division over here like we had in TX exam. Okay, so uh, I am taking a pause for a moment. I like to have probably the last discussion from my side for today. But before I start my last discussion for today, anything anyone of you want to ask?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Sir, I want to ask one question.
Mhm.
Sir, at initially, Tabani is used to provide physical classes of duration 4 hours or more than 4 hours. And now, due to the lack of demand of ATX, now Tabani is providing the recorded lectures and query classes of
Mm.
two query classes per week. I want to ask that what the lecture, they will, does they will provide recorded lectures of past attempts, or does they will you provide like recorded lectures which are available on Etabani Academy,
This is
because they
something
were
which
very
very honestly.
concise, lectures as compared to the physical classes which were used to take by Tabani's team at physically more than 4 hours or 5 hours.
I hear you. So answer to this thing is, the point with respect to in particular recorded classes is okay. So let me have this. Anything in particular apart from this discussion? Because very honestly, I just really want to keep this discussion towards the end. So anything in particular anyone want to ask apart from this discussion?
And one more thing, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Those recorded lectures were pertaining to the Finance Act 2022 rather than the Finance Act 2023.
I hear you.
Thus they will provide the updated lectures.
I hear you. Okay, noted. So two consent probably something which is in my mind to discuss towards end at my own. You asked both the question. Fine. Uh, I assume no other question. I hope I'm not wrong in assuming that, right? So, how the lectures, how the classes would work, the last discussion from my side for today. How the classes would work, how the lectures would work. Two, three things. Uh, I will answer you at this point towards the last. concise recording element. Uh, the point is, ATX is overall a pre-recorded element. And since I do understand in pre-recorded, there lack of interaction between myself, between the tutor, and between the students. And to just to avoid that gap, I have planned and like not for this attempt, since last 4 attempts, I'm conducting a weekly query classes. I'm conducting weekly query class. Uh, for this query class, what you guys are expected to do, you guys are expected to cover these topics on a weekly basis. So you can say there is a weekly planner available in front of you. I hope you guys, all of you guys can see this weekly planner. Uh, can you please do acknowledge me before I continue? Like you guys can see this planner. Furkan, kindly do remind me about this question towards the end before I close out. I will respond on that time about this particular point. Okay. Okay. So you guys can see the planner. The reason being, I just want to hear yes from every one of you because this is something which is, uh, the most important discussion for today for the introductory class. So this is, uh, so I have Bilal. I hope you are there. You are listening to. So the point is, thank you. This is a weekly planner. So your first today is 15th March, if I'm not wrong. Your next week will end. So according to me, every Friday the week ends, and on Saturday, I'm scheduling your weekly query class. The first class would be on 23rd, then next Saturday, then next Saturday, then next Saturday, 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 Saturday. If due to any reason we are unable to meet on Saturday, so like on yesterday I was not available, I was out of town. So if on any Saturday class is not able to happen, let's say due to either any reason, then I will be rescheduling it to Sunday, but otherwise by default it would remain on Saturday. Uh, in the holy month of Ramadan, it would be at 4:30 p.m. Uh, after Ramadan, it will be 6:30 p.m. So these timings are something which is like post Ramzan, and these three classes are basically during Ramzan. Okay. So in week one, let's say, for example, you guys are supposed to cover capital gains tax related topic, recordings from the portal. Once you guys are done with the recording, mark your queries if you have, on this class. On this class, there will be two agendas. First agenda would be First agenda would be to discuss your queries. And second agenda would be to practice exam kit question. Subject to availability of time, we will be solving 1 to 2 questions in every Saturday class, in every query class. So let's say on this day, I will be taking up your questions from the capital gains related queries. And once we are done with the queries, we will be solving exam kit questions relating to capital gains. Then, okay, in the meanwhile, you guys are not supposed to do exam kit at your own. You guys can do practice from the textbook. You guys can do practice from the notes, but not from the exam kit at the moment. On this date, we will be discussing queries relating to inheritance tax. Once we are done with the queries, then we will be doing 1, 2 questions from the exam kit relating to this topic. Over here, you guys are supposed to complete income tax, then this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic. Then on 18th May, we will be having query session. And after, after this class, after this class, you guys are supposed to start exam. Right? This is the first approach. The second question was around the recordings. Let me tell you one thing very honestly, very honestly. Uh, in every finance sector, there are some changes. At times the changes are major, at times the changes are minimal. Like just to give you a reference, in capital gains topic from Finance Act 22 to Finance Act 2023, there is only one change. And you know what's that change is? In Finance Act 22, the annual exemption used to be 12,300. Now this annual exemption is changed to 6,000. Apart from this, very honestly, there is no change in capital gains. There is no change in capital gains apart from this change. So just to reflect this, if I need to record the complete uh, capital gains, that would be very difficult for me considering my own routine. And considering the classes are started, uh, we are just aware of the changes maybe 10, 15 days, 20 days back, not more. So, and so due to that element, I am like keeping the recordings at this level. I do highlight the changes, like what are the changes between Finance Act 22 and 23. But one thing I'm rest assured, one thing I can assure you guys, like in the topics where there are major changes, where there are major changes, all these topics will be re-recorded and they are in the process of re-recording. So I'm not saying like that's done. They are in the process of re-recording. So any topic which has major changes will be re-recorded. So there is no harm if you have the changes in front of you, follow the Finance Act 22. And in every such topic, in every such recording, I have highlighted preemptively, like what are the key changes, what are the impacted areas, uh, and then the recordings will be there. The last question, if I want to address recordings concise element, recordings are concise because very honestly, like in physical class, you guys are in front of me, I'm in front of you. Uh, there are so many jokes, there are so many off discussions which happens. And third and the most important element is your copy time, like the time which you take to copy from the whatever I have written. In these recordings, and there are breaks as well. There are some of the persons who are talking in the class, class management. In the recorded versions, all such times are gone. Purely myself, if anything came into mind, just to share a joke, shared, smiled, moved forward. There is no copy time, there is no class management time, there is no break time. So if you guys do copy all what is there in the recording at your own, I would not say the time will double, but at least time will go increased by 50%. So let's say the recording is, I'm just saying, I do not recall exact duration of recording. Let's say if capital gains as a complete topic is of 8 hours, if you do it, solve it at your own, copy it at your own, at least it will take 12, 13 hours to cover this, at least. And that's just as a reference point, okay? So your copy time will be incorporated once you start copy it, but obviously your talking time, your break time, this is all in addition to that. So uh, I hope I answered all of these questions. Further thing, whatever will be discussed in the query class, whatever will be discussed in the query class, with you guys, uh, in in the like recordings of that particular class will be available. The PDF of that class would also be available. So, mm, yep. And as far as the physical classes element is concerned, so that's purely due to myself because there are some enhanced or increased responsibilities on my side in my office, due to which it's getting very difficult for me to spare the time for the classes because if we conduct the classes for ATX that approximately take, like you said, uh, a lot of time. And what I have planned, like to save my own time, to save your time, and to shift that time towards the practice. Like I said, just uh, exam kit related discussions. So the time will be utilized on that front. Yep. By the way, I don't know. So there is some misunderstanding on my side for today. I don't know why it was in my mind like class time is 1:30 instead of 1. And before like starting the class, I was checking any of the WhatsApp message. Then I noticed the message of one person, one student said, when are you going to start the class? So apologies for today for starting late, but rest assured, inshallah, it won't be happening going forward. Difficulty level of this exam. The difficulty level of this exam, very honestly, none of the professional exam is easy. None of the professional exams. So professional exams are either difficult, more difficult, most difficult. There is no easy or less difficult category. So that's my view on the level of difficulty of this exam. How can someone cope with this from beginning to avoid it? So that's a good question. One of the uh, most obvious way to avoid this thing from the beginning is practice as much as you can, as much practice as you can. And like I said, do not start the exam kit from day one. Rather, do start the exam kit somewhat towards the last, towards the end. So make it once you are done with the syllabus. So what we should do by that time, so you should practice from the textbook by that time. Do keep like again, you need to do the practice, right? So even if you practice from the textbook in the test, your understanding is, because one of the major problem with the ATX is while doing the exam related question, one topic doesn't belong to any one particular area. In one particular exam question, there can be two, three, four topics. Just let's say, for example, one question would be relating to residency, one question relating to capital gains, one question relating to inheritance. It's very difficult for the student to identify what we should do now, what we should do later on. So just on that front, just on that front, it is advisable like to do your own attempt, your question towards the end, and in the meanwhile, maintain practice with the help of example. Sorry, with the help of textbook. Yes, any further question, please? Mahad, I hope I answered all of your questions. And very honestly, you asked the question which was already in my mind to discuss, but towards the end. So that's why I keep this discussion towards the end. So a good point, Samira. Yes, we 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 should uh, cover these kind of areas as well from the exam kit. But having said that, so uh, if you follow the recordings, the lectures properly, there would be not as such need to cover anything from the article. Mahat, what I can do with respect to physical notes is I can share the physical notes with the photocopier, uh, and you guys can collect it from the photocopier, from the TSA photocopier. I hope that would be fine, right? So I will keep you guys posted, like how, not how. One, I will place the notes with the photocopier. By the way, one more thing which I want to discuss, the approach related discussion. With respect to approach, one thing I like to advise all of you is um, while looking for the recording, please do listen to this thing also carefully. While looking towards the recording of any of the topic, I request you guys to keep the unannotated file with you. Unannotated means like the blank file with you. Like while studying TX, you guys have the notes in front of you, right? And and once you guys are covering the topic, you guys keep noting at your own from the in your notes. Do follow the same approach. You will get the hard copy of the notes from the photocopier. Once you have that, do while looking for the particular topic, uh, do annotate it at your own so that the retention will be increased. Okay. Anything further anyone of you want to ask? So I'm done with all of the discussions. Uh, the things which I want to discuss now, it's your turn. If anyone wants to discuss anything. Mahad, you asking about the normal class lectures, right? So, uh, one by I have started sharing with the TSA the updated lectures. So, by now, I have provided the notes relating to capital gains, relating to inheritance tax. So, these two things are done. Rest are in web, but I I confirm you this thing like once you are done with this, next topic will be available to you. So I am recording or updating my recording, keeping these topics in my mind as the timeline. So in easy words, there is a common statement वो कहते हैं ना हाथ नहीं रुकना चाहिए. So this is something which is in my mind like your coverage shouldn't be stopped. वैसी बहुत मुश्किल से तुम लोगों का पढ़ाई लिखाई का इरादा बनता है. Yes. Uh, so I was expecting much more questions than now. Like, I was about to comment the same कि कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि कुछ लोगों को रोजा लग रहा हो. सर कहाँ रोजे में जो है इतनी मुश्किल मुश्किल बातें, बड़ी मुश्किल से तो क्लास लॉग इन की है. मुश्किल मुश्किल बातें अभी नहीं पूछे रोजे में, बाद में रोजे के बाद. Well, so let me check with the TSA admin, the e-Academy admin about the uploading the lectures at portal. By the way, I didn't get the chance to check my WhatsApp since yesterday. Just asking you guys, is your WhatsApp group done or not? Because that's very honestly easy for me to communicate you guys, all of you guys in one go from the WhatsApp group. So that's why basically I was asking this question. No. So I hope that will be done by Monday. So I will, inshallah, try my best to make sure that it will be done by Monday. Soma, honestly, at the moment, idea is to keep it online. But if it, one of the biggest problem with me in particular with respect to professional exams, and this is something which is not only my observation, this is something which every one of us who is involved in the professional stream is of the same view. The problem is uh, in the professional, all of the professional students, they, as an starting point, they really want the classes to be physical. But when it comes to attend the physical classes, mostly students have their own reasons, which is genuine according to them. At the end, who is bound to conduct the physical classes? It's only us who are like at the end bound to conduct the physical classes. That's why, uh, and at least myself, I'm like, no, I'm fine to keep it online. But if you guys commit me like, sir, we will be there, कहते हैं ना, सर कदम बढ़ाए हम आपके साथ हैं, then I really don't mind that. So let me sum up your question in easy words, Soma. I'm fine to keep it physical only or physical as well, but I need the surety from you guys, like, sir, आप रखें, शाबाश, हम आएंगे. Then that's a commitment. Then I really don't mind keeping it on physical. If this is not the case, then मैं भी आराम से घर से आके क्लास में. So, Soma, at the moment, the idea is to keep it online, but I'm open for this. So this is not something which is a hard stop. This is something which can be revisited based on both of us consent, myself and you guys. So uh, very honestly, I can think about this. I can work on this. So this is again physical classes versus online classes. This is not something on which I'm very rigid. Uh, I personally, if you ask my personal view, my personal is I would love to keep the classes to be physical because I enjoy more in physical classes. But by looking into the past behavior, it's like fine. मैं भी आराम करता हूँ, मैं भी chill करता हूँ घर में. But again, we can discuss it on, let's say, next Friday. If you guys agree to keep the class physical, I will keep the class physical. But in case of physical class, this time will be bit changed then, right? Because the class will be at least of 2 hours, and on 1 week, like अवतार मेरे साथ करना तो I'm fine. Otherwise, if you want to do iftar at your home, then we have to keep it by, let's say, 5:30 or 5:45. Then we need to think about this time, nothing else. Mahad, very honestly, uh, the pass rate is improved because students now get more time with me to practice the questions. Firstly, secondly, students do cover the syllabus at their own pace. Most importantly, via this approach, there is no class cancellation. There is no, uh, you know, I would call it as waste of time in copying the things, etc., etc. Uh, all of these times supports in saving the time, my time, the student's time, and it has positively contributed towards the result. Uh, number of recorded lectures, number of recorded lectures, yeah, so difficult to say. Like, if you want to ask me the count of lectures, that's difficult to say at the moment, like how many recorded lectures would be there. So if you ask me, I can tell you the overall duration rather than sharing the each and every number. So approximately the duration is around 75, 80 yards approximately. Uh, so, Soma, probably a silly question. Why you want to study now? So if you are not planning, so, again, purely a discussion point. If you are planning to attempt it in a later stage, uh, do you really think you will be able to retain the things? Acha, plus, I'm not very much aware of the, sorry, I'm not very much aware with respect to the availability of access type of things at uh, TSA E-Academy portal. So please do clear with respect to these access related things before you plan any such type of activity. Perfect. So I believe no further question. Allow me to say goodbye to you guys. Uh, I will, inshallah ta'ala, keep a track of your recordings, your group, and I try my best for your group to be done by Monday, inshallah. Okay. But I still request you guys to please cover up your this area capital gains tax by next Friday, so that we will be able to meet up in the queries session. For the queries session, we can discuss on, let's say, next Friday, whether to keep it physical or to keep it online. What we can do further is in Ramzan, we keep it online, keep physical after Ramzan. Again, I am fine. So on Saturday, I have to be in TSA to take the TX class. So that's really no issue, no worry for me to take one more class of you guys as well. Perfect. So with this last note, thank you very much. Once your folder will be available, sorry, once your group would be available, I'll keep sharing these PDFs as well. In the meanwhile, any one of you want, please do take a picture, the screenshot of this planner, so that you can start work on this planner. Mad, exactly this is what I just covered. Like once the group will be done, I'll share the link of these files as well with you via the group, so that you guys can follow this as well. So in the meanwhile, to take the screenshot of this planner at least, and once group will be there, I'll create your drive and keep uploading the files over there. Again, the fundamental philosophies, whatever we are discussing in the class, that is for you guys. And since it is for you guys, so it will be shared with you guys as we used to do in TX. I hope screenshot element done, right? So thank you very much. It's great to see you guys. Good to see the progress of you guys. Good to meet you guys in ATX. Uh, keep remembering your prayers. Thank you. Allah Hafiz from my side.